Hey everyone, in this video I'll show you how to install and set up a FortiGate firewall on EVE-NG. So FortiGate is one of the most powerful and widely used firewall in the enterprise world. So in this video I'll show you 3 quick steps to get started and configure the FortiGate firewall from scratch. So by end of this video you will have a fully functional working and a licensed firewall ready for your lab. So let's go straight into the video. Alright, let's begin with the step 1 where we'll see how to download the FortiGate image and import into EVE-NG. So before we jump into download, I'm going to start the EVE-NG virtual machine from the VMware workstations. So while that is booting up, let's head over to Fortinet support page. If you are a new user, you can create a free account with your email ID to log in and download the image with no credit card or trial required. So just simple registration steps. So I'm already logged in here. So let me show you how to navigate to the right image here. So we need a KVM image for the EVE-NG platform. Select VM images from the left hand side and choose the product type as FortiGate and go to the platform. Here you can see many platforms like ESXi, Oracle, AWS and Azure. And we must select KVM here, which lists currently available software version. So as I record this one, 7.6 is the latest one, but I always recommend a stable version for the lab environments. So let's click on the earlier version here and I'll pick 7.2.12 and the image comes in 3 major categories: FOS, FFW and FGT. So we need to choose FGT, which stands for FortiGate Firewall with the full features. So under FGT, we can see 3 images. The first one is ARM processor, which we don't need. And the second one is an upgrade image. And we need to choose the VM64 image from the new deployment sections. So the file would be fgt underscore VM64 underscore KVM, then the software release versions. So let's click on it to start the download. So while download is in process, let's look at the EVE-NG official documentation page. Click on how to create image under the documentation section, then choose the FortiGate images. Here you can see the image name format, the RAM requirements, minimum 1 GB, recommended 2 GB, the CPU requirements and all those things. So most importantly, the documentation show all the steps to follow. So the directory name must be start with FortiGate hyphen followed by the name you choose. The path should be something like this. So I will copy the path details from here. So we have set up a VS Code to access the EVE-NG host via remote SSH in our previous video. Since we downloaded 7.2.12, we will add the version to our directory name for the clarity. And the command would be mkdir followed by the path details and the FortiGate hyphen, then the software version we are going to give, which is 7.2.12. Now we'll use the WinSCP to move our downloaded image to EVE-NG host. So connect to the EVE-NG host using the same IP address, username as root, password as Eve. You can see the new directory we just created. I'm going to drag and drop the downloaded image to this particular folder. So the upload is completed. So back into the VS terminal, let's cd into the FortiGate directory. First we'll unzip the file we just downloaded. So unzip followed by the file name. The extracted file will be named as fortiios.qcom2. So EVE-NG expects the image name to be like this. So let's rename the file name first. And now we can remove the original zip file. Finally, we'll run the fix permission command for this image. That's all we need to do from the download and import part. Alright, so now let's jump into the step 2 where we will configure the FortiGate node from EVE-NG dashboard. Just to recap, from the last 3 videos, we built a lab with the virtual routers and Linux host, and all these nodes are connected to a switch for the management access. Now let's add the firewall node. I'll select FortiGate. Inside that you can see the image version is 7.2.12. CPU is one with the 1 GB RAM. Let's save the node configuration and let's add the link to connect the port 1 to one of the port in the management switch. So we will just start with the management switch and the firewall node now. Now the node is getting boot up. Now right click and open the terminal which open the session in the secure CRT. Now we are in the login screen. The default username is admin with no password. We need to set the new password during the first time login. So we successfully set the password and got the welcome screen. Now let's learn some of the key commands we can use. So get sysstatus or get system status is the equivalent command in Cisco world as show version, where it will show all the software and hardware details. So here you can see the software version. The license status shows invalid currently. We'll see how to provision the license shortly. And we'll also see the VM resource details. Next we'll check the interface status. It shows both physical as well as the logical interface. And here you can see the port 1 has a DHCP which has an IP address from the management range. So all the physical ports are enabled with the DHCP by default. So now let's do some configuration changes through CLI. So configs is global where we can set the global changes. So we will set the host name first. Set the host name as FW1. Now you can see the host name is updated. Now let's see how to change the interface configs. So I will edit the port 1 configuration. We'll set the mode as static from dynamic and we'll set an IP with a subnet mask. We'll also allow access to all major services including HTTPS and SSH. We'll also set some description. Now next we'll see how to set the routing. So we'll configure a static route. We'll set the gateway to our home router IP and use port 1. Finally, let's see how to configure the DNS statically. So set the primary DNS to Google and also secondary DNS. Now let's verify all the configurations. We can run get system interface physical to see the physical interface configurations. So here we don't see a config except port 1. And get router info routing table all will show all the routing table informations. So here you can see the static default route pointing to the home router with an exit interface as port 1. Now if you want to ping to the destination IP, we can use execute ping followed by the destination IP. Here you can see the destination is reachable for sure. For some reason I don't have the ping response, but the DNS resolution works. So that's a quick walkthrough of all the FortiGate key commands, and you will find all these details in the video descriptions. So let's jump into the most important part, step 3, where we'll see how to activate the license for FortiGate Firewall. So for this, let's navigate to the firewall GUI. You can hop over with the HTTPS followed by the IP address, and we can do the licensing part from the CLI as well. So once we are in, we need to provide the login credential, which is the same as what we set up on the CLI admin and followed by the password, whatever you set initially during the CLI login. So once you are in, the immediately it goes to the licensing window, right? So where we need to activate the license. So you have two type of license here. One is the full license where you can get it from your accounts team based on your contract and import those license file. Second one is evaluation license where we can use for our lab purpose. Just to explain about the evaluation license. There's an old way of doing the licensing, like anything on the 40 iOS 7.0.5 and earlier, you have got a quick automatic 50 days trial right away. But once it is expired, the firewall effectively will get locked up and forcing you to delete and rebuild your lab from the scratch. So now the new way is anything 40 iOS 7.2.1 and higher, you can do one-time internet-based activation using the free FortiGate cloud account to get the permanent evaluation license. And this is much better because your test lab configuration never expires, although you are limited to activate only one device per account. So let's click on the evaluation license, then provide your Fortinet account details, which is the same account you use for your image download. Enter your password. So once you click OK, it will ask for a reboot. Click OK again, then your system goes for a reboot. So while that is happening, if you can go to the services in the support page, then click on the asset management, you can see the new device added in our asset list. You can verify the serial number, which would match up what we got on the lab. So that's a quick verification on the license part. Excellent. Now let's go to the GUI again and we'll go to the initial dashboard setup once the booting process completes. And we'll disable the automatic patch upgrades and save and continue. Finally, we get a firewall dashboard with all the configuration tab. So in the next video, we'll dive through the automation part, both with Ansible as well as the API automation. So stay tuned for this one and also share your thoughts how this is going on in your home lab and share your feedback what you want to cover on the next video. And thank you for watching and thank you for listening and we'll see you on the next video.